Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 18th of July. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast, presented as always by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, I send you where you're going to be treated like family. Title sponsors of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. Got a fun show planned today. I'm so glad to have you aboard. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. By the way, just a note on the personal side of things here. Number one, the way that the show is growing, can't do any of it with all you guys' support. Can't do it without the support from my sponsors. And got some really fun and exciting news coming up soon. Not today, probably not tomorrow either, but I got some fun, exciting news, and I'm going to look forward to sharing that with you guys, maybe in the coming days, hopefully within the next coming week or so. So all of the stuff that's happening with the show, things, the way that we're growing, all of that, it's not without your support. It's not without the support of our great sponsors. So I appreciate everybody. I love you a long time. Okay, so like I said, fun show today. We're going to talk to one of my favorite comedians out there, Brad Williams. If you don't know about Brad Williams, he's coming to the Dania Improv August 3, 4, and 5. I'll be going on August 3rd. Went about 6 months ago. My wife and I, we saw him. Like I said yesterday when I mentioned that he was going to be joining us, Brad Williams, it was the best comedy show we have ever been to. So looking forward to talking to him. We've never had him on the show before. That's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to join us today. Not really a whole lot to update as far as Damian Lillard, the Miami Heat. We're just kind of playing the waiting game. The Marlins lose last night, their fourth consecutive game. They've actually run into a hot Cardinals team now. You remember the Marlins, what was it, right before the All-Star break? They took 3 out of 4, from St. Louis. Well, now the Cardinals, they win last night 6-4. Luzardo obviously did not have his best stuff, only went 4 innings, didn't get out of the 5th inning, gave up two earned runs, 3 total, and the Marlins, they wind up losing yesterday for the 4th consecutive game. They'll look to get back on track tonight. They're now 10 games over, 53-43, but come on, we got to right this ship here. You can't let it get out of hand. So you got that going on. Last night, I didn't get to watch my stories last night, Monday Night Raw last night. Instead, my wife and I, we finished out the newest and final season of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, which is on Prime. John Krasinski, obviously we love him. Wendell Pierce, we like that show a lot. Sad that it's over, but that's what happens with shows. That's what I told my wife when she was sad that the show ended last night. I'm like, that's what happens. Shows start and they end. So now the show's over, and now we are continuing to watch Lincoln Lawyer. That's what we're watching right now on Netflix. We like Lincoln Lawyer, so we're into that right now. That's our show currently. You guys know I'm always taking show suggestions. But anyway, that's what we got going on. So, do have some NBA news to get to as well. Joel Embiid. Oh my, I'm sorry. Obviously, I don't care for Joel Embiid. I hate the Sixers. Joel Embiid comes off like a loser, if you ask me. He really does. And I said this before, going into the playoffs, there was no chance this Sixer team was getting out of the second round. They didn't get out of the second round. And to me, Embiid's got a lot of Ewing in him, where he just doesn't win those big games. And yes, Patrick Ewing went to the finals twice, lost both. The second time was really toward the end of his career. But Patrick Ewing, had that label where he doesn't win those big games. For me, that's all Joel Embiid right now. You can't trust him in big games, as we saw in the second round, Game 7, really the end of Game 6 as well, against Boston. So you got a little bit from Joel Embiid, which we got to get to. And, and of course, today's Tuesday. We brought it back last week. Twitter Jam. Every Tuesday now. And we got some fun stuff going on for Twitter Jam today where we hit on if you guys are newish ZASLOW Show 2.0 listeners, Twitter Jam, Tuesdays, long-time segment of the old ZASLOW Show. And whatever's the hot topic that's trending on Twitter, on social media, we're going to bring that to you coming up in a little bit. So we'll have some good Twitter Jam for you. Now, So I've been trying to think of some ways to incorporate the audience a little bit more. Not that we used to take phone calls on ZASLOW Show when we were on terrestrial ratings. We stopped that many years ago. But, sometimes we would read the text machine, that kind of deal. So I'm trying to come up with ways that we can incorporate the audience a little bit more. Like, for instance, if I did like a mailbag, where, it could be on Thursdays I do the mailbag, or Fridays, I don't know. Although Friday, we got big game, not a big game, big movie, not a big movie. Like, maybe I'll do something like that on Thursdays. Like, if I did mailbag on Twitter, do you think I would get a lot of responses? And when I say a lot of responses, it only has to be like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9 questions or whatever. That's a pretty good mailbag right there. I don't think I get a lot, but do I think I'd get some good questions? And I'll do, I'll answer pretty much anything, all right? So I think that's a good way to get people involved, to get listeners involved on the show. So I kind of want to introduce a mailbag. Maybe we'll do that this week. But another way is stuff like this, a way that I can get you guys involved in the show. So what am I getting? ZASLOW, what are you getting at here? Get to the point. So last night, a little before I'm going to get to bed, all right? I'm flipping around the TV, and I happen to catch the very beginning of The Dark Knight. What a movie, all right? Christopher Nolan, Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, of course. He's Batman. How can you forget Batman? And he's my favorite Batman, Christian Bale. Matter of fact, if you want to do it like this, I think Christian Bale was the best Bruce Wayne, if you want to do it like that. I think it's possible that Ben Affleck was the best Batman, but I think Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne. But overall, Christian Bale, my favorite Batman. So anyway, The Dark Knight is starting, and obviously, I'm going to watch the beginning of The Dark Knight. I wasn't going to watch very much of the movie. I was kind of tired. But I'm obviously going to watch the beginning because it might be the greatest all-time movie opening scene, where you got the Joker pulling off the bank heist, and you got, what's his name, Robert Fichtner, who's a big-time actor, where he plays, like, the bank manager who comes out with the shotgun and he's shooting at the guys. Do you know who you're stealing from? You know you're dead, right? Because the bank is owned by the mob. And so that's why Joker is stealing from him, and it sets in motion, the whole movie. That opening scene where we're revealed that, who the Joker is, and what awesome scene. Such a great opening scene. And it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite movie opening scene. And so it got me thinking, and I put this out on social media this morning. Watched The Dark Knight on TV late last night. Classic opening scene. What movies have the best opening scene? And I didn't want to be like, it's the best opening scene. What is best? And I didn't want to do that because it's like, I don't know everything. So what are some of the best movie opening scenes, right? All right, so let's go through some here. And you can always hit me up on social media at Twitter at ZASLOW Show, on Instagram. I'm an influencer, but I still get all your messages at ZASLOWJ. But here's on Twitter at ZASLOW Show. So I got a bunch of these on Twitter. Best movie opening scenes. I got Mike Fuentes here, from Meadowlark Media. He tweets out here to me, Heat, not close. Yes, that's a great one, where they start out with their own heist scene. And isn't that when Wayne Grow, the guy who looks like Skinner, old WWF star, when Wayne Grow, he shoots the security guy with the armored truck, and now they're screwed because you killed, not a cop, but you killed someone. They're not trying to kill anybody, and that's when it leads to the scene at the coffee shop where Robert De Niro's character is gonna kill Wayne Grow, but then he ends up getting away. Heat's opening scene, awesome opening scene, great contribution there by Mike. Dolphin Rich says, Dark Knight is one of my favorite opening scenes ever. I also love the opening scene of Murder on the Orient Express. I've never seen Murder on the Orient Express. I do want to see it. Vince says here, Infinity War and The Dark Knight. Let's see. So the opening scene for Avengers Infinity War, I'm trying to remember how that opens. Yo, doesn't it open with after Thanos kills all the Asgardians on the ship, and then he kills Loki, he fights with Hulk, and yeah, I think that's it's a good opening scene. I don't think it's as good as Dark Knight. And he also has here Saving Private Ryan. Here's the thing with Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is a very famous, maybe I should say infamous opening scene. It's obviously really, really well done. But I don't consider that, because if you remember when Saving Ryan came out, that movie, that opening scene was so realistic that veterans were walking out the theater. And that opening scene's about 30 minutes. And veterans were walking out the theater. They couldn't handle it. It was too realistic. So, yeah, that opening scene's really well done, but I kind of stopped short, if you understand what I'm saying, on saying how great it is, because I don't want to watch the opening scene for Saving Private Ryan. It's too realistic, and it's too difficult for a lot of people to watch. Like, everyone who loves The Dark Knight loves the opening scene. But you can love the movie Saving Private Ryan, which is obviously a great, great movie, and have a hard time watching that opening scene. How about here? Let's see. Darth BS, he says, The Dark Knight is the GOAT. You can't change the channel if you run into it. Must watch. Well, here's the thing with if you run into it. It's the very opening scene. So you got to catch the very start of the movie. Okay. This is a great one from Josh. Cliffhanger. Now, Cliffhanger as a movie, I think Cliffhanger is a really good movie. But it's kind of like your typical Sylvester Stallone 90s action movie. But that opening scene for Cliffhanger, phenomenal. Especially because you're talking about a time back then in the 90s with movies where for the beginning scene, for a good guy, let alone a young lady, to die in the opening scene. Very shocking when you first see the movie Cliffhanger, especially back then. Cliffhanger, excellent suggestion. Mike in West Palm gives The Matrix. I got a hard time remembering the opening scene from The Matrix. Griswold Hank says The Kingsman had a great opening scene too. Kingsman, really good movie, yes. How about Danny Perez? He chimes in with James Bond Casino Royale. We've been through this before. I've never seen a single James Bond movie. Yep, not one. Never seen a single James Bond movie. Lou likes to fish. He gives the movie Up. Okay, I don't have have Up there because while Up is a fantastic movie, the opening scene is the saddest opening 10 minutes to a movie you're ever gonna see. It's so sad. Really well done. So sad. How about here, Grana says Scream. Great opening scene for Scream. And that's another one of those where a good character, like a good guy, dies violent. And a big-time actress like Drew Barrymore, although that was like the beginning of her getting back onto the A-list in Hollywood, and she dies in the opening scene. She gets gutted. Yeah, Scream is a great opening scene. All right, got a few more here that I want to get to. First, though, I want to tell you guys, like I said at the beginning of the show, our sponsors, it's why we're at where we're at, including the listeners. You're why we're at where we're at. And that just means to keep the whole thing going round and round. You support the sponsors who support the show, and that's how we make this thing continuing to go on and on. And of course, one of our great sponsors, they're out there trying to help you with any water restoration project you may have. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you found a leak in your home, you don't know where it's coming from, call or text 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida is prepared to handle any type of leak you may have. They'll detect where it's coming from, they repair it. Water Cleanup of Florida then cleans, dries, and fully restores the damaged areas. They serve the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. My friend Jackie said to me the other day, what's the name of your water restoration company you have on the show? I have a friend who desperately needs help. I said, yeah, you're going to call Water Cleanup of Florida. They're going to get out to your friend right away. 954-900-8635. You could also go to WCUFL.com. Water Cleanup of Florida. Again, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. Got a bunch of other responses here. Elliot says, Way of the Gun. I've never seen Way of the Gun. I don't know that opening scene. Shane chimes in with Cliffhanger also. Cliffhanger is really great opening scene. That's a good movie. John Lithgow's a good bad guy in that movie. Eddie says, best opening scene ever is The Dark Knight. Okay. Mark says, Jaws. Gotta be honest, do not remember. I've obviously seen Jaws. I was very young. It came out before I was born, but I was very young when I saw it. I don't remember. A couple responses here. Michael says, Ghost Ship. I don't know what Ghost Ship is. Matthew says Saving Private Ryan. So does Lackey. I told you about Saving Private Ryan, how I feel about that. How about our pal Shandell here? Nightmare on Elm Street. And even posted the YouTube link. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984 opening scene. I do not remember it. I will watch that after we get done with the show today. Sebastian says Gone in 60 Seconds. I did not like that movie, so I do not remember the opening scene. Raphael says Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yes, great movie. I don't know if it's better opening scene than Dark Knight. What else here? Yep, Rob says Heat. We know Heat. Ryan says most of the 007 movies, but I told you, I don't know. Aaron says Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know that the opening scene in Mad Max Fury Road differentiates from the rest of the movie, because I've told you, my experience with Mad Max Fury Road, I've never seen a movie like that. The entire movie is like filmed on the go, on these, war trucks. Incredible movie. I've never seen a movie like it. And, Keith chimes in with Glory. I do not remember the opening scene to Glory. I would assume it was a battle scene. But I feel like if I don't remember the opening scene to it and I've seen the movie, it can't be the best. So there you go. You got a bunch right there. I thought that was a really fun topic to start the show with here. And I will say, for horror movies, okay? For horror movies, the opening scene, because, Shandell recommended Nightmare on Elm Street. For horror movies, the opening scene to It. Georgie losing the arm, rough scene. The only part of that scene that is a negative is that scene sets the tone for the movie, for It. And as a result, I'm not scared about any of the rest of the movie. That was the scariest part of the movie. Like, it was traumatic watching that. When Georgie gets his arm eaten off by Pennywise. Yeah, the opening scene for It's kind of rough. But anyway, real good contribution by everyone there. I appreciate that. So like I said, and if you got some suggestions, you can let me know. But like I said, I'm trying to come up with more ways to get the listeners involved on the show. Obviously, it's not going to be in real time, but I feel like that was a good way right there. So that was something to do for today. And I think maybe trying a mailbag, which we could do on like Thursdays maybe. So maybe I'll send out a tweet tonight asking for mailbag questions, and we could really do it about anything. I think that could be something fun. So that's what we watched last night right before I went to sleep. We watched The Dark Knight, or watched the first like 30 minutes of it. I was tired, but I wanted to make sure I watched the opening scene. Might be my favorite opening scene ever in a movie. If I had to give it up for any of the suggestions there, I really liked Heat. The opening scene for Heat. That may have been my favorite suggestion there. So, of course, we went to sleep, and I slept great last night. Zaslow, how do you sleep so well? Sheets and Giggles. That's right, my man Colin, founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles. Went out with him this past Friday night. Always great to see him. He's like, hey, Sheets and Giggles want to know, when is it Dame time? When are the Heat traded for Damian Lillard? And I'm like, I don't know, man. We're just sitting back and we're waiting. But while we're waiting, we should at least get great sleep, right? Well, if you go to sheetsgiggles.com, you're going to permanently become one of over 100,000 Americans that are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles naturally. Softer, cooler, more breathable, and more moisture wicking than cotton. That's right. The only sheets I'm ever going to use now for the rest of my life. Been using Sheets and Giggles. They've been on the show for about 4+ months at this point. I get the best sleep I've ever had. The comforter, it's my favorite comforter. My son Jordan told Colin at the Panther game, I love the comforter. Sheets and Giggles is the best. And you know what? I don't even want you to take my word for it. Go to sheetsgiggles.com and you're going to see for yourself. If you've never ordered on Sheets and Giggles, use promo code ZASLOW. You'll get 20% off your first order. If you have ordered on Sheets and Giggles, recommend to your friends. Give them my promo code. And you're not going to shop. That's one less thing that you got to worry about, is where you're going to get your bed sheets. Sheetsgiggles.com. So, let's do a little bit of NBA here. And mainly what I want to do as far as NBA goes today, we don't really have any update as far as Damian Lillard goes. But what I do want to do with the NBA is I want to read you this quote. This was from 2 days ago. I want to read you this quote here from Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was doing like an appearance and he was doing a Q&A, okay? And obviously, it was at some film festival actually. And here's the quote from Joel Embiid. And talking about his future, winning, that coming off of MVP, that whole deal. I just want to win a championship, whatever it takes. I don't know where that's going to be. Whether it's in Philly or somewhere else, it's not easy, but every single day I work towards it. All right. And now this is a big to-do. This is a major talking point now over the last couple of days. I'm sure on Philadelphia Sports Radio, WIP, 97.5 The Fanatic, but on television as well. I mean, First Take is eating this kind of shit up. You know that. As they should. So this is now a big talking point over the last couple of days. And again, let me read it to you. I just want to win a championship, whatever it takes. I don't know where that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or somewhere else. It's not easy, but every single day I work towards it. Okay, I got to be honest with you. I told you this throughout the season. I do not think winning a championship was number one on Joel Embiid's mind. I think winning the MVP this year was by far the most important thing for old Joel Embiid. It was the only thing he talked about all year. The whole conversation was obnoxious. Joel Embiid was out for himself this year. He wanted the MVP, so this is a successful season for him. Hell, in his post-game press conference, after they were eliminated, blown out in Game 7, just like Giannis said, this is not a failure. Yeah, because you got the MVP. So anyway, Embiid comments there about his future, and I got a major problem. If I'm a Philly fan, I got a major problem with two parts of it. There's two things that he says there that I got a huge problem with. Number one, where he says, all I want is a chance. Joel, you're in the second round of the playoffs every single year. That means your team's pretty good. No one's going to gift wrap a championship for you. No one's going to hand it to you. You're not getting any buys. You're 30 years old now at this point. You've been in the league long enough. You have an MVP now. You've never been out of the second round. The answer shouldn't have been, or the answer shouldn't be, the organization shouldn't be going to the MVP. To the MVP saying, what do we need to do to help you? No, the MVP, who's getting paid an incredible amount of money, of course, deservedly so, the MVP should be going to the organization, what else do I need to do to help you? He's the MVP. He's the most valuable player in the league. What else does he have to do to help the team? Not the other way around. And all I want is a chance. You have a chance every year, and you never win the big game. They were up in Game 6 at home in the fourth quarter. He was horrendous, and they blew it. Game 7 in Boston, he was a total no-show, and they got their ass kicked. That's a chance. You had a chance this year. You have a chance every year, and you always lose. So that's bullshit. Number two, the in Philly or somewhere else. Why would you say that? Now, screw the Philly fans. I don't care about Philly fans. I mean, just the worst. But let's take the bias out of it. Why would you say that? In Philly or somewhere else, the franchise has been so good to you. The city's been so good to you. And what you're essentially saying there is, and we know this is the case with most players, and this is why I'm always pro team. I'm never pro player. You want to call it pro management or you want to call it pro ownership, call it whatever you want. I'll call it pro team, but I'm never pro player. And you see, this is a great example of it because Joel Embiid now is telling you the city's been great to him, the team's been great to him, but he's telling you, I just want to win a championship, be it in Philly or somewhere else. He's out for himself. He wants to win for himself. He doesn't care if it's in Philly or if it's for Philly or if it's for that team. And that's why I'm never pro player. I'm pro player when that guy's on my team. But outside of that, I'm never pro player because a time is going to come where he's not pro Sixers anymore because he's telling you there, I want to win a championship wherever I can do it. It's not about winning it on that team. It's about him winning a championship. Call it pro management if you want. Call it pro ownership if you want. I'm always going to be pro team. My goals are almost always going to be aligned with my team's goals. The player, his goals are aligned with the team until they're not. And that right there's a great example of that. I just don't understand why Embiid would say that. Why even start the trouble? Why even do that? And for the record, Embiid won his MVP this year, was a flop in the playoffs. Harden now wants out, right after Ben Simmons wanted out. And now Embiid is bitching about needing help. Think about it. He spent the whole season campaigning for MVP and now talks about not having enough help. Meanwhile, Nikola Jokic won Finals MVP. I mean, what a stupid argument this was during the season, right? Embiid totally flops in the playoffs. His next best player demands a trade, and now Embiid is bitching about not having enough help. Jokic kept quiet, won Finals MVP. That's a joke. It's a terrible look for Embiid. Terrible. And how are you going to attract players when you're saying you may not stay? And then now overall, that's just a microcosm of the NBA right now. It's the most selfish league. The players have no self-awareness. There are already odds out now as to where Joel Embiid would play next. Well, because if he leaves the Sixers, what would Joel Embiid's next team be? There's already odds out. You ready? I'm going to give these to you. Hang on. Here we go. Joel Embiid's next team, if not the 76ers. The best odds, Knicks, 2-1. Then it's Brooklyn, plus 250. Dallas, plus 350. New Orleans, plus 450. I guess they figure, hey, we'll give you Zion, And then the Miami Heat, plus 550. I mean, he's an amazing player. But I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, let's wait for Joel Embiid, forget about Damian Lillard. Nah, I want Lillard much more than Embiid. ZASLOW, you're crazy. He's 3 years younger. All right. I feel like you're not going to get Embiid without giving up Bam. That's one. And I'd rather have Lillard with Butler and Bam than Embiid without Bam. Embiid's amazing. Not terribly interested in rooting for him. He's tough to stomach if you ask me. Lillard, we're going to love him. Because that is happening. I don't have anything new for you on Lillard, but that is happening. Guys, I'm telling you, if you don't love your rate with your homeowner's insurance is expensive down here. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. But that's not something I'm complaining about these days. Because I get my homeowner's insurance for about 10 years now. The only insurance agency I use, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. My man Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they know exactly what type of coverage I need. They're going to know exactly what type of coverage you need based on where you're living because they got the entire state of Florida covered. From Pensacola all the way down to the Keys, wherever you're calling from, 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. They know where you're calling from. They know the area. They have the expertise and the experience to find the perfect coverage for you, including, hey, maybe you don't own a single-family home. They have comprehensive policies for trailers, for motorhomes. Maybe you need insurance for your car, your motorcycle, your boat. Yeah, bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Like I told you, top insurance agency in the state of Florida, was rated top 5 in the entire country. Take it from me, this is one less thing you have to worry about. What's going to happen? God forbid something happens at my home. That's not something that keeps me up at night. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com.